Forget the cinematic fog. It didn't smell like mystery. It smelled like boiled cabbage and stale horse piss. You're standing on Flower and Dean Street, 1888, November. Hand shoved into a pocket that's mostly holes, clutching one greasy copper coin. 1 penny. Hollywood says you're poor but plucky. Reality? You're vibrating from the damp. This coin is the choice between a stomach cramp and... Actually, let's be honest. It's just the choice between different flavors of misery. Stay with me. The mud is the first thing that gets you. It's not just dirt. It's a black, oily slurry of pulverized coal, horse dung, and whatever the tanneries dumped into the gutter at midnight. It's thick. It pulls at your heels like it's trying to swallow you whole. You're standing outside a gin palace on the corner of Hanbury Street, but you're not going in. You can't afford it. You're maybe 24 years old, but in this light, this sickly, yellowish gaslight filtered through a permanent fog of chimney smoke, you look 40. Or dead. Honestly, some days it's a toss-up. The air is thick enough to chew. It's a cocktail of burnt malt from the nearby breweries and the sharp metallic tang of blood from the Smithfield stalls. And the noise? It's a physical weight. Steel-rimmed cartwheels screeching against the stones, the rhythmic clack, clack of thousands of wooden clogs, and the constant low-level hum of people arguing over scraps. It's a city of 4 million people, and right now, you're the most invisible one of them all. But you have the coin. It's heavy. Real copper. It feels bigger than it is because it's the only thing keeping your stomach from eating itself. 1 penny. That's it. To an American today, a penny is something you see face down on a sidewalk and don't even bother to pick up. In 1888 Whitechapel, it's a survival strategy. It's the ultimate choose-your-own-adventure game, except every ending involves you waking up covered in lice. You're shivering. Not a little tremble, but a bone-deep vibration because your coat is more of a suggestion than a garment. Your stomach makes a sound like a rusty hinge. Now you have to decide. Do you eat? Do you smoke to forget you're hungry? Or do you try to find a place where the rain won't hit you while you close your eyes for 3 hours? 1 penny, 1 choice. Don't screw it up. Wait, I forgot the smell of the river. It's always there. Low tide at the Thames is, well, let's just say you don't want to know what's floating in it. Focus on the coin. Focus on the hunger. Where do we go first? The first stop is a cook shop. Not the kind with white linens and a waiter who calls you sir. No. This is a hole in the wall on Flower and Dean Street that smells like boiled cabbage and wet dog. Your stomach is screaming. It's a physical pain now, a knot twisting just below your ribs. You look through the window, steamy, greasy glass, and see the block ornaments. That's what they called them. Sounds fancy, right? Like something you'd put on a mantelpiece. It's not. It's the scrap ends of meat, the gristle, the gray bits the butcher couldn't sell to anyone with a soul or a functioning set of teeth. For 1 penny, you can get a bowl of this mystery stew and a hunk of bread. The bread, God. It's not sourdough. It's a penny loaf, but it's been stretched out with alum to make it look whiter and sawdust to give it weight. You bite into it and you can feel the grit against your enamel. It's heavy. It's dense. It feels like eating a brick, which is actually helpful because a brick stays in your stomach longer than actual food. But wait. If you spend that penny on the meat scraps, you're done. Your pockets are empty, and the sun is going down. The fog, the London particular, is rolling in from the marshes, and it brings a cold that doesn't just sit on your skin, it hunts for your joints. Maybe you don't eat. Maybe you're one of those people who needs a different kind of fuel. You could walk over to a street stall and ask for a screw of tobacco. 1 penny gets you a tiny paper twist of the harshest, darkest shag you've ever seen. It's mostly floor sweepings and stems. You roll it, light it, and for 10 minutes the nicotine suppresses the hunger. Your brain stops vibrating. You feel almost human. Then the cigarette burns out, and you're still standing in the mud, and you're still cold. Look, if you're enjoying this descent into the miserable reality of 19th century survival, maybe hit that subscribe button. Or don't. I'm not your boss. But it helps me keep the gas lights on here at the canal. Anyway, back to the gutter. Let's talk about the penny sit-up. This is the part the movies always skip. They show the poor people sleeping in haylofts or huddled beautifully under a bridge. Real life was much more bureaucratic and humiliating. If you have your penny, you can go to a low-end lodging house, a doss house. But 1 penny doesn't get you a bed. A bed is 4 pence. 4 pence gets you a coffin, which is basically a wooden box with a thin mattress where you can lie flat. If you only have 1 copper coin, you're headed for the bench. Imagine a long, narrow room. It smells like 1,000 unwashed bodies, stale gin, and the sulfurous rot of the sewers. There's a wooden bench bolted to the wall. For 1 penny, you get the right to sit on that bench all night. That's it. No lying down. If you try to stretch out, the deputy, the guy running the place who usually has a broken nose and a very short temper, will kick your shins until you sit up straight. Why? Because space is money. You sit shoulder to shoulder with people who are coughing, shivering, and probably covered in the same body snatchers, lice, that are currently exploring your own waistband. You sit there in the dark, trying to sleep while your chin hits your chest, and every time you start to drift off, the person next to you heaves a sigh that smells like rotting teeth. It's called the penny sit-up for a reason. You are paying for the privilege of not dying of hypothermia on the street. That's the bargain. But wait, I'm forgetting the 2-penny hangover. No, that's not a drink. It's exactly what it sounds like. For 2 pennies, twice your current net worth, you could stand against a rope. They'd string a clothesline across the room, and you'd lean over it, hooking your armpits over the rope to stay upright while you slept. In the morning, the deputy would just untie the rope, and everyone would fall onto the floor. Time to wake up, you lot. But you only have 1 penny. You're looking at that copper coin in the palm of your hand. It's getting dark. The street lamps are being lit, casting those long, flickering shadows that make every alleyway look like a throat. You could buy a saveloy, a highly seasoned, bright red sausage that is 40% breadcrumbs and 60% don't ask. It's hot. It tastes like salt and spices, which masks the fact that the meat is questionable. It feels like a luxury for 3 minutes. Or you could buy a pint of penny ale. It's weak. It's cloudy. It's basically water that's had a grain of malt waved over it. But it's safer to drink than the stuff coming out of the pumps. The water in Whitechapel? It's a lucky dip of cholera and typhus. The beer is boiled. Boiled means you might live to see Tuesday. So what is it? The brick bread? The bench with the lice? Or the tobacco that makes you forget you're a ghost? The choice isn't about saving for the future. There is no future when you're living in 1888. There's only the next 4 hours. You're not a person, you're a collection of needs. Warmth, calories, silence, and your penny can only satisfy one of them. I remember reading this diary entry from a girl named Martha who lived near Spitalfields. She said she spent her last penny on a piece of fried fish because the smell of it made me feel like a lady for a moment, even if I had to sleep in a doorway afterwards. That's the logic of the slums. It's not rational, it's desperate. Wait, I think I see a gin palace glowing down the street. The 10 bells. Maybe we should see what a penny does there. Actually, no. We'd just get kicked out. A penny won't even buy you a look at the barmaid's apron in a place like that. Let's stick to the shadows. We have to make this penny count. If we choose the food, we freeze. If we choose the bench, we starve. It's a perfect, cruel circle. And the rain is starting again. That cold, thin London drizzle that finds the holes in your boots. God, I hate this part. The part where you realize that a penny wasn't money. It was a stay of execution. The mud is black, thick, like cold gravy. It's 11:48 p.m., October 13th, and the wind is whipping off the Thames like a wet towel. You're standing outside a low lodging on Flower and Dean Street, the worst street in London. Even the rats here look like they've given up on life. Your hand is in your pocket, cramped. Your fingers are that weird, ghostly gray color that means you're losing the fight against the damp. You feel it, the penny. One single, wretched circle of copper. This is the turn. The moment the choice becomes a haunting. You don't buy the sausage. You can't. The hunger is a dull roar, but the cold? The cold is a knife. You hand the coin to the deputy at the door. He's got one eye and a scar that splits his lip in two. He doesn't look at your face, he just looks at the penny. To him, you're just a copper delivery system. He points. Bench! The penny sit-up. It's a room, cramped, dim. The walls are actually sweating. Condensation is dripping off the peeling wallpaper because 40 men are packed into a space meant for 10. You find a spot. You sit. Your knees hit the back of the man in front of you. Then comes the rope. They stretch it across the row, chest high. You lean forward, hooking your arms over the hemp. It's rough. It smells like tar and old sweat. This is your bed. You're hanging there like a carcass in a butcher's shop. The man next to you is vibrating. Not shivering, vibrating. He's got the white death. Every breath he takes sounds like someone stepping in wet mud. Cough, wheeze, splat. He's coughing onto your sleeve. You close your eyes. You try to think of anything else. But all you can feel is the rope cutting into your ribs. Wait. The rope is moving. The deputy is shaking it. He's grinning. Wakey, wakey. Can't have you getting too comfortable for a penny. It's a psychological torture chamber. You paid your last cent to be hung over a rope and mocked by a man who smells like cheap gin. The movies show people huddled around a fire. There is no fire here. Just the wet, heavy heat of 40 dying bodies. The penny is gone, and you're still dying. You're just doing it sitting up. Morning hits like a blunt object. The rope drops. You're back on the cobbles, ribs screaming. A penny bought you a seat in a fever dream. Wait, no, not even a seat, just a hang. Next time, we're looking at luxury, the 4-penny coffin beds, or the workhouse where they trade crusts of bread for your actual soul. Subscribe if you've got the stomach for it. Don't let the fog swallow you. See you in the dirt.